Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the art of creating mental health wealth. Joining me for this show each and every time is my dear friend joining us from Kenya. It's JENETTA Barry and the Epiphany Process. Welcome to the program, JENETTA. Hello.
Hi, Dr. JACALYN, and hello to all our viewers and all our listeners. Great to be back, and we've got a fantastic guest this week.
JENETTA, I'm so excited to see you. I've missed you. How have you been? It's been a couple of weeks.
It has been a couple of weeks, and I've been very challenged in the last week, but now back on track again. I got quite ill. I think it's a bug that's going around. So for 36 hours, I was flat on my back. But before that, I had my husband, Andy, also extremely ill on morphine and drips and all sorts of things, but we've both bounced back, and all the better for it, actually, because it clears up a lot of stuff when that challenge happens. I don't ask for it, but when it does happen, it does clear up things.
JENETTA, you are the queen of bouncing back from things. That is definitely an understatement. I'm loving this dude that you have going on. It looks really
You like it, darling?
sexy, sassy.
Sweetie, darling. Juicy.
JENETTA, we've got a wonderful guest backstage, as you know, because you invited Neil to join us. I'm super excited to meet Neil. Tell us a little bit more about him.
Well, Neil's one very talented man. He's a breakfast show host for Radio JACALYN in UK and was with Capital Radio for many years before that. He's also an accomplished comedian. But for me, what's so meaningful about Neil for me and for World Jenny's Day is this man has one huge, big heart. And he's always out there advocating for women, and he's advocating for causes that really touch him. So it was the most amazing experience a couple of years ago when Neil stepped forward and was part of World Jenny's Day. And I'm not going to say too much more because he'll say it far better, or we'll say it together. So I would like to introduce you to Neil Long. Welcome, Neil.
Welcome,
Hello.
Neil. Hello.
Oh, you both say the nicest things. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to meet you, someone with so much experience. And at the same time, your success has not been clouded because you're constantly giving back and helping others. Tell us a little bit about your mission in fundraising, Neil.
Oh, mission's a big old word, isn't it? But yeah, it all kind of started, JACALYN, over lockdown, when obviously nothing was going on at all, and I was kind of we were all holed up in our houses, and I was kind of bored. So I thought, what would happen if, because I'm a DJ by trade, what would happen if I set up my disco decks in the back room and just start broadcasting over Facebook, apart from really annoy the neighbours, which it probably did. And then, of course, we got busted by Facebook because it wasn't legal to broadcast. And then something called Mixcloud came along, who brokered a deal where it could be done legally. So we started broadcasting virtual parties. And I thought, this is really good. You know, it's unifying a lot of people. During lockdown, people are really scared. It gives them a resource place to go to and have a laugh, for goodness sake. And then JENETTA and I met through a mutual acquaintance called Mark Jarrett, who he runs something like 250 WhatsApp groups. How he does it, I will never know, but he does. and we did a fundraiser for World Jenny's Day, and I've had the opportunity to learn really just about all the wonderful work many people, including JENETTA, are doing, and it was so good. We decided to do it again this year.
Hip hip hooray! I love that. It's fantastic. Congratulations to the two of you. That's
And
wonderful.
it's kind of JENETTA, somewhat growing in the last year, hasn't it? I mean, it's fairly big during
Absolutely.
lockdown. It's kind of got bigger.
It has. And for me, I'm going to do my song and dance act about the whole thing. Fundraising for me has always been the most difficult part of any cause that I've wanted to create, and it's no mean feat with World Jenny's Day, with the big picture that we have for World Jenny's Day and the legacy that it will leave behind, which is to have all the performers on the day and performers in the world at large to be supported with a worldwide benevolent fund, so that performing artists and artists are so often the ones that are the most compromised and least paid. World Jenny's Day feeds back to them for all the performance they do for World Jenny's Day to raise people's spirits. And what I loved about our fundraiser, Neil, was that it's the most fun I've ever had in fundraising.
Online.
It was like, oh my gosh, we've done 12 hours. Do we have to stop now? This is such good fun.
I didn't think it could. I know. I didn't think it could work online, but it was really just an experiment born out of lockdown. I don't just mean fundraising. I mean all the parties we were doing. And then suddenly I get people say, "Oh, I was changing my sheets while dancing to you. I was dancing." I thought, this is really making a difference. It's really uplifting people. So yeah, we can raise money. And like JENETTA said, it was a 12-hour marathon. I've got a team of DJs, boys and girls, and we all got together. We do a set each. It's all done in sets. So you get an hour of DJ speak here, Soul Weekender, and an hour of 60s, and an hour of power ballads, and whatever other musical delights we want to do, plus fundraising, plus interviews as well. Every hour we take about 10 minutes to do an interview with somebody involved with World Jenny's Day, key people, including JENETTA, of course. And just so the people listening could really get a sense. And what we found is, kind of, it sounds a bit quantum, but time or space didn't really matter. It was kind of everyone focused at once on one thing. And the bizarre thing was, it was all done in my back room. There was no posh studio. There was nothing like that. In my conservatory, it was called the Conservatory, Southwest London's only online nightclub. But seriously, and it was just all done so as an experiment, and it just kind of unfolded and got better and better and better. And then, as I say, we started doing the fundraising, and it all went from there. And we had a great day, JENETTA, didn't we? We really did.
I had people coming on saying, I had no idea it was going to be like this. I even had my then 12-year-old, 11-year-old, one of my twin granddaughters come on, and she was transfixed. She was mesmerized and thought it was
if we're getting
amazing.
kudos from a 12-year-old, that's when I know it's really cool.
So I have a question for the two of you. This is super exciting.
Yes,
there are many people who are trying to fundraise for various things around the world, and it seems like it gets more and more difficult. And putting on an event is a lot of work in addition to that. So how do you balance the effort that goes into putting the event together and the effort that goes into fundraising?
JENETTA?
Well, I mean, Neil, you're also doing the same, but some events are easier than others. If we take the World Jenny's Day bike safari event, that's a huge amount of marketing. Actually, putting the event together is easy peasy. Neil, it's really, really easy, and that's why I wanted to have him on our show today, to give the opportunity for others to be able to step forward and work alongside Neil as well. And we've got ours coming up on the 15th of April, and we're getting all the interviews together, and it'll be all day. It'll be 12 hours. We're getting all the interviews together. In fact, one of our interviews, Dr. JACALYN, is Dr. Karen Dark. We're interviewing her later today. Now, some people may not know that Karen has just cycled the Antarctic on a trike. the only first person to cycle the Antarctic. And she's taking that trike and bringing it to East Africa and joining us on our fundraiser through Savo Game Reserves. But I'm being a bit naughty here. I have some more things to announce with that. She is actually going to go after that with her team of friends from the coast of Kenya and travel with us into Tanzania to Kilimanjaro. And she and her friends will be extra fundraising by climbing Kilimanjaro. The porters are going to carry Karen up because she is a paraplegic. And she's cycling down with all those people, and people can join her to do the same. And she's going to fundraise with us. So there are many ways to fundraise, and some take a lot of effort. Our gala night, a huge amount of effort on the 10th of October. This one is such an easy way to do it with so much fun. Relatively easy because it takes some. Excuse me, my dog's got a hold of a toy now.
I thought it was a hyena, JENETTA.
Not today.
Online fundraising is somewhat easier. There's a lot less admin, I suppose, with online fundraising. Yeah, it takes some technical skill and the presenting skill, but I would say it's a lot easier than putting on something in real life. And of course, you don't have to go anywhere. All you need is a link, and you can click and be involved in the atmosphere and in the room. And it's surprisingly atmospheric. Like I say, it is surprisingly atmospheric, and it can really capture people. And another nice thing is we have something on the screen that shows the money going up as we go along. So it's an incentive. People can get excited about it. People can buy into it. And maybe just because it's novel and different. Virtual parties before 2020 weren't even on my radar. I mean, why would they be? I'm a jobbing DJ. I'll go out and, do disco gigs. Virtual parties were not on my radar, but it just seemed to work. And it caught people's imagination. You can see the money going up and up and up, and it's an incentive, and you don't have to go anywhere, and you can wear what you like. You can, it doesn't matter.
I love the fact that you've got the ticker tape or whatever it is to show the money going up and down. Yeah. That really does excite people.
Yes, and every hour we do a total. We got a voiceover girl, now another hourly total, and we'll announce it, and it goes up, and it goes up, and it goes up, and it goes up, and it's really, really exciting. And you think, my God, we're actually making a difference by just essentially doing something that I enjoy doing anyway. And it's we always invite a few people around. It turns into a bit of a party afterwards. All the DJs get together and we celebrate and we have some fun with it, and it's good. It's a really good thing to do.
I really appreciate what you're sharing, and I think JENETTA is frozen at the moment. We'll bring her back. So, Neil, what I'd love to have you share with our audience is it's always been, to me, very exciting to be a DJ. You're up there, you're spinning the records, and technology's changed so much since,
goodness.
Yeah, can you talk to us a little bit about what that experience is like to know that you're really commanding the room and the experience that people are going to have by what it is that you're playing?
When it's good, there is no feeling like it. Do you want a bit of DJ science? I only learned this recently. Okay. Well, the club anthems, the DJ anthems, and all the famous DJs know this, all the David Guettas and Calvin Harrises of this world, 128 BPM. 128 BPM. That is the beats per minute most likely to take you into flow states, which I'm sure you're familiar with mental health work. Flow states, the neuroscientists have discovered that's the only internal state that human beings can have where you get all 7 bliss chemicals at once. So it's not just a shot of dopamine, it's dopamine and serotonin and anandamide and testosterone and all these, oxytocin all at once. So literally, when you see the dance floors in ecstasy doing that, that's why they literally are. They're literally completely legally and completely harmlessly high on their own brain chemistry. And when you are one with the audience and they're one with you, it's palpable. You can feel it. That's when it's really good. That's on a good day. Not all gigs are that good, but it is absolutely it's so exciting. And as anyone knows, when you go into flow state, your performance just rockets anyway. But 128 BPM, that is the magic. That's the magic number. 128, they've discovered.
That's true. The number. I didn't know that. That's exciting. Neil,
if you look at all the big dance anthems, the average Calvin Harris or David Guetta song, they're always 128, and that's why.
When you think about a good gig versus a gig that's not as good, how do you define that?
Well, it's strange. I mean, DJs, we've all got a bit of an ego and we want to see people dancing and having a good time all the time. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes people just want to sit there and tap along on the table and I'll go, oh my God, that was terrible. We call it a mortgage gig in the trade, pays the bills, but that's about all. But they come up to you at the end of the night and go, oh, we had a really lovely time. I suppose it's something I've had to learn over the years that not everyone wants to be a raver. But a good gig is when it's friendly, when it's nice, people go, it's convivial, they have a good time. It just all the basic human stuff. A bad gig would be if someone didn't turn up or if there's an unpleasant atmosphere there or something like that. But they're relatively rare, touch wood.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was always, I haven't been to a dance, anywhere really where you'd be out dancing. I was always the person who was the first on and the last off with dripping sweat. Like, I don't care. My sweat's going everywhere and just closing the place down.
You are the kind of person that I'll want at all my gigs. In fact,
So
you're
much
hired.
fun. So much fun. So much great exercise. So another thing I'm wondering is that all the things that you do, pretty much, you have to use your voice. How
Yeah.
do you take care of your voice to make sure that it's protected for the work you're doing?
Probably not as much as I should, but it's fairly resilient because I've done this for sort of 30 years. So I probably should gargle with honey and lemon or something like that. But that's a very good question. And probably more than I should is probably not as much as I should is the honest answer to that question. But I'm fairly resilient with it because I do it pretty much every day because I do a radio show and I do stand up, as JENETTA said, and I do live gigs as well. So I'm fairly used to doing it.
But well, I have you on Spotlight. Do you get nervous at all, or it's just kind of it's what you do?
I did get nervous. When I did my first radio show, I was physically shaking. But after a while, you don't really get nervous anymore. More excited, if anything. And if you are terrified as a new performer, it's kind of like riding a roller coaster. I say this to any new performer, and it's going up and it's going up, and you go, oh my God, I'm scared. And then it just dips over the top, and the wheels are still down here, so the weight hasn't gone yet. And then you go over the edge, and it's terrifying for about 10 seconds. And then that terror turns into excitement. And the roller coaster comes back in, after it's done its circuit, and you go, oh my God, I want to do that again. It can be absolutely euphoric. It's like eustress, rather than distress, eustress, positive stress. So yeah, it can be very, very exciting.
I would totally agree with you. And by the way, Jeanetta's back. Let's bring her
Yay!
on. Yay. Jeanetta, welcome. I thought the hyenas kidnapped you.
I was worried. Can't trust these hyenas.
We can't hear you, dear.
Last week, I was presenting with Dr. JACALYN, and they were right outside the window here. No, it's quite a
real
haunting
hyenas. I thought you
sound.
were joking. You mean there's real hyenas? Oh, this is like the Lion King. This is getting cooler and cooler.
Any hyena jokes, Neil?
Pardon?
Any hyena jokes that you have?
No, we have foxes here in the UK. That's about as the most exciting as it gets, but no hyenas, unfortunately. Not that I've seen, anyway.
Our show is about mental health, and what I'm wondering is, how is that line between mental health and humor, comedy? Because we've read about so many comedians who were actually suffering, struggling, and really unhappy inside, but yet they took that pain and they channeled it to help other people. What would you share?
It's a great question. It's almost a bad joke that went round, isn't it? Oh, they're a comedian, they must be depressed, which isn't necessarily true, but there is certainly a correlation, if not a causality. Yeah. Yes, comedy or acting or any kind of performance can be very therapeutic. It gives you distance, I think. I mean, I've seen people recovering from mental issues that have been involved in movies, one of which I was in, almost acting out their pain. But when you do that, it gives you a distance from it. And when it's a bit mindfulness-ish, and when you become the observer of it, you're not in it. You can see the forest for the trees, and it gives you distance. Plus, it's an incredible buzz as well, if it's experienced as eustress, not distress. But there's a definite, and humor and music, I think, are two of the greatest healing tools that we have on this planet, and I wouldn't be without them personally. So, good question.
Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Jeanetta in just a minute. So when you feel that euphoria, that 128 beats per minute, Do you
All 7
crave
bliss chemicals at once.
everything go, woo? Do you crave it over and over and over again? Or is there sort of a crash when you're not
No,
in front of the
it's a
audience?
weird thing. Unlike alcohol, for example, it's not addictive in that sense. To me, I mean, we do hear about runners high getting addicted to the endorphins, but it's the healthiest way of doing it. Do you want more of it? Yeah, of course you do, because when you're in a flow state, it just feels incredible. It's ecstasy. The emotional feeling is what I would call ecstasy, which is nothing to do with the drug. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Do you crave more and more? Yeah, but you couldn't be in it all the time. That would overload the circuits. It's an up and a down.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. JENETTA, over to you.
Yeah, Neil, I wanted to ask a little bit of your backstory. How were you in DJing first, or did you go to comedy later, or did you start off with comedy, or did
No,
they both evolve together?
I started off being a mobile DJ, just doing people's weddings and birthday parties in the local church hall. Very glam, very glam. Then a local radio station, which was named after the town it was in, called Kingston FM, opened up, which is you can tell how small it was because of the if it's named after a town, it's not going to be a massive station. And then through a series of coincidences and good luck or synchronicity, whatever you call it, I went to Capital Radio, which at the time was the biggest commercial station in Europe, which was dead exciting. I mean, I wasn't a key player there. I was only on the night shift, but it's still pretty big. And I came to comedy after that, just trying out. Then I went out of comedy, and then literally since about 2020, came back into it and just thought, let's give this another go. So it was really in that order.
Right. And when which would you say you prefer doing? I mean, is there a preference, or do you enjoy both?
Different. They're different. I mean, I come off stage doing comedy. It's only 10 minutes that I do. I call it the hot 10. Yeah, the hot 10, because it's all a question of writing and refining, and then that goes in the 10 minutes, and then you add a bit more, and then it's 12 minutes, then 15. There's a lot of trying and testing, and of course a willingness to fail, because something can seem funny in my head if I'm out with my friends. I think, God, that'd be funny to say on stage, and it's not. And then sometimes I can be trying to be not even trying to be funny, and people start laughing. I think, okay, or maybe they're just laughing at me. I don't know, but you never can tell. But sorry, I lost my track there. What was the question again?
Which do you enjoy the most, DJing?
They're so different.
Or comedy?
I come off feeling as high as a kite when I do comedy. Probably comedy at the moment, because it's the second time around for me, but it's newer. But a really good DJ gig can feel very, very, very good as well. Particularly 12-hour fundraisers in April. They're good. I understand.
Neil, I've watched some comedy on television, and sometimes I'm just like, oh, my heart's breaking for the person up there, because it's just not funny. And yet you're there on the stage, it's live. How do you rebound from that?
I find the phrase "there's no failure, only feedback" quite useful. The only mistake in that case is trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting something different to happen. I did see that with some comedians first time round. I remember this girl in particular, I can't remember her name, but she would do this 5 to 7 minute set, and it just wasn't funny. There was nothing funny in it at all. But week after week, she would come back and do the same thing. So there's no point. If hitting yourself over the head with a hammer hurts, the feedback is stop hitting yourself over the head with a hammer. But she just kept using the hammer, to use that metaphor, if you like. So how do you? Yeah, it can feel pretty awful. But if you can take it as feedback, you couldn't have learned that anywhere else. At least you're having the experience, then at least you can know what works and what doesn't work.
So true. Do you ever reach out to the audience and say, hey, you guys didn't like that? Do you ask for their feedback, or you just keep going, you launch into the next?
No, I run like hell.
Okay. Where's he going?
I get my steps in, yeah, doing out the door. Although it is relatively rare, touch wood. I did 5-minute open spot once at the Comedy Store, which is the big comedy club in London, and they were all really established acts, massive names. And then there's little old me doing 5 minutes. The other open spot was a guy called Patrice O'Neill, who was already a headline act in New York. I mean, so he did his 7 minutes and stormed it. I did my 5 minutes and died on my sorry backside. But do you know what? So what? It was an experience. so what? He
Yeah.
says now, 25 years later. But
I just
I love
today,
that.
oh, sorry, Jeanette. I just
Yeah.
today saw a video of Jerry Seinfeld in
oh yeah,
2013 being interviewed by Howard Stern. And Jerry shared my take of what he said is that everything is potential material and that he's constantly, wherever he is, he's working in his mind thinking, can I use this? Can I use this?
yeah,
Same with
yes,
you?
that's that. Yeah, absolutely. Anything could happen. Somebody could just make a off the cuff comment, or something could just flash into your mind, or even a negative experience. You can suddenly after the event, you can see the funny side of it and go, wait a minute, actually that could be moderately amusing. I mean, for goodness sake, some people, it's a bit like the people taking their pain and turning it into comedy. It's not a million miles different. It's not a million miles different.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
with you saying about when you do fall flat on your backside and it feels like the end of the world,
It's not.
that attitude is such a wonderful way talking about mental health, because it's so easy for us, for most of us, and I'm generalizing, but really in working with people all over the world, it's the majority of people, to take failure and just fall apart or not quite recover. They recover, but that pain of loss holds them back from really getting back into their groove and their genius.
Or they would be frightened to try again because they don't want to re-experience that pain. But if they see it as feedback, literally just a feedback mechanism, okay, that didn't work. So when I hit myself on the head with a hammer, it hurt. I won't do that again. Just to go back to that metaphor, I'm not saying I can do it all the time. You know, I'm still human and I've got the quirks, and I'm not completely whole, integrated, and perfect. You know, that's next week. But maybe later today if I'm lucky. But yeah, if you can generally take that attitude that it isn't really failure, it is really just feedback, then everything becomes something you can learn from.
Yeah, I so agree. And a lot of people also then start going, which is one of the big things one works on when you step into the arena of being heard and seen and performing and presenting, as Dr. JACALYN and I are doing today, which is not worrying what other people think, say, or do, because that also holds them back. They're so invested in what people think of them that not only the
Exactly,
experience, but that.
but inspiring, if I may, inspiring ladies like yourself are here to give a message to the world, and some people are going to like it, some people it'll go over their heads, and some people won't, and that's just the way it is. If you spent your life trying to please this one, and then please that one, and then please that one over there, and that one over there didn't like that, you'd never be able to do anything. But ultimately, no one's here to live for anyone else. We're here to live for ourselves, and if we can put something wonderful out into the world while we do that, you know, and be of benefit to other people, even better. But we're not here to ultimately, within various parameters of common decency, we're not really here to please anyone else, if you know what I mean, in the best possible way.
Yeah, absolutely. And
In the
Neil,
best possible way.
I'm wondering, you've done radio for so long and you're
Yeah.
doing stand-up comedy. So one, you're behind the scenes in some way, and the other one, you're right out in front. Have you ever thought of putting the two together and doing television for your radio show?
Well, I'm told I have the perfect face for radio, so probably probably not. No, television never. I just sort of never really did it. Well, apart from now, obviously. But no, it never really happened. I mean, I'm not against it particularly. I mean, the market's completely saturated. Obviously, there's so many media channels now. But would I do it? Yeah, possibly, given half the chance.
There we go. There we go. The Neil Long television star.
Well,
Really
I mean, when you go out on, say, like the marathon that we're doing on the 15th, you're visual again there, aren't you? Not for the whole 12 hours, because, Dr. JACALYN, every hour a new DJ steps into place and takes over
absolutely.
with their style of music, which
Nice.
is why there's a nice variation.
Yeah, there's something for everyone on that day, no matter what music you like. Different DJs. We got men, we got women as well. We've got three fantastic female DJs on board, which is fantastic, and the guys as well. And literally, we're just going to be raising as much money as we can for World Jenny's Day, all online, 15th of April. And I'm sure JENETTA will post the link if you would like to be there. But really, you don't have to leave your home. You can just click one link and you're in the room, essentially. But you will get sucked into the atmosphere and you won't want to leave. I promise you that.
I have a question when it comes to knowing
Yeah.
what kind of music to play, especially for an event like this.
That comes with it sounds ridiculous. It sounds pithy and possibly a little condescending, and I don't mean it to sound condescending at all, but it just comes with experience, knowing what to play. It's just getting the feel of the room and getting the feel of the next song that's going to work. It's online, anyone of any age could be listening, but most DJs will tell you there's kind of a lowest common denominator of songs you can play, which most people will probably like quite a lot of the time. Sweet Caroline springs to mind. There we go. Neil Diamond.
Yes, let's do it. Sweet Caroline.
Caroline.
Da, da,
La,
da.
la, la.
You see, I just start the party everywhere I go.
Feels so good.
Woo, I love it.
Whoa, 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 I feel that I...
That was beautiful, JENETTA. Thank you.
That was great.
Yeah, well, next.
Now, is that 128?
No, it's
Slow.
not. That's not 128 now. It's a lot slower than 128. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I can find 128. Hold on, I'll give you a demonstration of what 128 is.
Okay.
Bear with. Right. I'm gonna go on my phone. Bear with me. Okay, so if I get my trusty metronome app and pop it on 128.
I like it.
That's 128.
Dun, 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 bum, 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 bum. Okay, enough for now.
And the leg? I want to see the leg. Can we see the leg?
I can't do that right now.
No, that would be
interesting. No, but you're right. It does, like, even just doing that, I feel alive, just moving around.
It's a relatively recent scientific discovery, and I don't know where it came from, but someone decided that DJs were a good thing. No, I think they wanted to know the question you asked: why do DJs seem to have this power over the audience? And it's not particularly; it's just tapping into something that's already there. And they found that 128, you get all the bliss chemicals at once, and the crowd does as well. So everyone is essentially in a flow state, and that just feels amazing. It can't not.
So a song that's 128, an example would be, just to put you on the
Would you
spot.
like me to find one for you? Well,
Yeah.
Are we allowed to do that, Dr. JACALYN? Are we
Why
able
not?
to?
I think we can play a couple of seconds of it. Right, hold on. I will find one for you. I'll have to look it up, so bear with me. And I've got fat fingers and small keys, so it might take a while.
While Neil's doing that, I'll just share this. So, I go to a certain place to work out every day, and they play music very loud for the whole 50 minutes. I mean, it's blaring. My watch is going off saying that you could lose your hearing. And I always ask, can you do 70s music? I love the 70s. And the people are so much younger than I am. They're like 70s music.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? But I just feel like that era was one that people were dancing. We had Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Fever, right? When you think of the 70s, JENETTA, a lot of good times.
Absolutely. 70s and even the 80s, the 70s
Yes.
and 80s, there was some amazingly get up and go songs that came out of those two decades.
Hugely. Absolutely hugely. And it's fascinating to see how music evolves. Everything's based on what came before, then it moves on, and then it's based on that, then it moves on. Here's one you're going to know. This is 128 BPM. Very, very well known. And it's his... Recognize that?
Yes.
I got a feeling. It's also Will.i.am's birthday today, so happy birthday,
Is it?
Will.i.am.
Oh, happy birthday, Will.i.am.
48 today.
Wow.
So young. Yeah. But you're right. That beat, it's like you're coming alive. It's like you're starting to wake up. You've been in hibernation and now your butterfly wings are sprouting out.
It's delicious. It's that
Still
done right. It's
dancing.
absolutely delicious. I maintain it's one of the greatest healing forces we have, music and comedy, and music
So agree.
and various other things. But yeah, pretty much.
I'd
Yeah.
love to ask you how technology has changed the work that you do as a breakfast show presenter.
Dramatically. I mean, in the early days of DJing, you've probably seen TV shows like it, DJs coming in big chunky equipment, massive crates of records, 7 really heavy boxes. Now it's a memory stick. It's a teeny memory stick, and it's literally all on there. Vinyl is popular still, but in a kind of collectory, culty sort of way. It's not what most people use for convenience. I mean, for goodness sake, my DJ decks don't even have CD players now. It's literally just memory sticks. So technology has made everything smaller, lighter, more compact, and faster, if you like.
Absolutely. I remember, and I'm showing my age now, you would go someplace where there was a DJ, had the headphones on, and had the record spinning around, and would use some
That's it.
kind of thing, and then it would start spinning again. It was like, wow, how did they do that mix? That's so cool, the way that, one went into the other. A real art.
Yeah, the beat match mixing. Yeah, it's probably easier to do now and learn now if you're thinking about starting DJing than it was then. You can do clever things with MP3s, like looping them, for example, to create a beat to do that mix too. But to loop live, that would be incredible dexterity to do that with a record, like spinning it back 4 beats and getting it exactly in time. That's a hell of a skill. But yeah, they do exist, DJs like that, but they're quite few and far between, I would say.
Yeah. JENETTA, go ahead. I have so many questions, but please.
No,
Go ahead.
you
I'm
go
here to
ahead.
answer them.
Ask the next question.
Okay. So my next question is, I know that you have been doing this for so long as a DJ, and you train other people. Does anyone and everyone have the ability to be a successful DJ or a successful presenter?
I do believe that all skills are learnable. Yeah. I don't think that DJs or presenters are special people in the sense they've got something that other people haven't. It's if you have a desire to learn it and you're willing to learn, then yeah, absolutely. It's all skills are learnable is a simple answer to that question. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Pretty much.
JENETTA?
I couldn't agree more. I believe we are born with that creative genius within us. What happens is we lose how to tap into it, and it's attached to the universal energy. So the moment you learn how to tap in from your creative genius to that universal energy, you can do anything. But it
doesn't matter if you're DJing, baking a pie, or
absolutely,
or dig in the garden. It doesn't matter. Once you're tapped into that creativity, and it is, and I'm sure that's something to do with the flow state and all that sort of thing. I'm sure I haven't quite put it together in my head yet, but I'm pretty darn sure it's all very much connected. Yeah, definitely. Because that's a lot of what your work is about, JENETTA, of course, that reconnection to that source of creativity, whatever we believe.
Yeah.
From.
Absolutely. It truly is. And the difference is whether it's in your value system to hook into that. If you don't value it enough, then you're not going to be able to do it because it's not what you want to do. But if you're not doing it through fear or judgment, that's the time to get over yourself and find the ways to tap into what's truly
the best way to do it is just do it for
alignment.
The sheer fun of it. If you're very attached to an outcome, it's got to go like this, it's got to go like that, then you just get in your own way all the time. And one thing I've noticed if I've been in flow states, that nagging in a voice, hey, you can't do it, that's just gone. It's shut down. They've proven that scientifically now. That kind of critical inner voice literally winks out in a flow state with the research that's been done into it. And that's been my experience as well. Very, very much so, yeah. If you can do it just for the fun of it. They reckon to get into flow, I've read quite a lot about this, 4% novelty, 4% risk, 4% difference. I'd have to double check that. There's 3 components to getting in a flow state on demand, if you like. But they're only a 4% different. That's the thing. the whole research in flow came from the field of extreme sports, would you believe, where people were, climbing sheer rock faces without a safety net or something like that. And yeah, you've got to be pretty present when you do that. But I wouldn't want people to think that you have to do. Far from it, dangerous things to get into flow. No, you can be in flow baking a pie. You can be in flow doing your garden. You can be in flow DJing. You can be in flow presenting a radio show. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you get those, and it's just a 4% difference. It's not as big as people think, and it's not unattainable as well. Sometimes, performers are put on a pedestal, and we've seen all kinds of, egos go wrong over the world. And it's not necessary. You don't need to do that. All skills are learnable. And a world in flow is a healthy world, in my opinion. Nothing to do with ego.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you both. We're coming to the end of our show, and what I'd really love is for you to share more about this event in April and tell people when it starts, how they can get involved. Where's the link? Who wants to start off on that?
Neil?
Well, I can tell you exactly what the link is going to be now. Can I tell you? Can you put it on the screen?
Sure.
The link is going to be www.mixcloud, that's MIX, mixcloud.com/live/Longie, LONGIE. All right. It's on April the 15th. And I'm just trying to, my mind's completely gone. What time did we say we start, JENETTA? Sorry.
We said 9 a.m.
9 till 9. That was it, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
so 9
UK time.
Yeah,
So then it'll be BST, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. BST.
Yes. Yeah, 9 a.m. British summertime, and it's mixcloud.com. That's it. That's exactly right. /live/Longie. If you go to that link now, you can follow me. There's nothing broadcasting there, but you can actually follow me, so you'll get a notification when we go live, and when I go live for other things as well, which you're very welcome to come to. But for April the 15th, 9 till 9, it's going to be an absolute epic day. We really look forward to seeing you there. And there'll be all kinds of interviews, finding out about JENETTA's work, all about World Jenny's Day, and of course with a backdrop of mental health and well-being, which is ultimately what we're doing all this for, because it really, really matters, in my humble opinion.
Absolutely. Neil, we have had your information up, but for people who are not able to read it, or they're on a radio station or a podcast platform, how can people reach you, and who would you like to contact you?
Okay, well, my website is neillong.com, neillong.com. Or you can hit me up on Facebook, Neil Long DJ.
All right, there it is. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like we just got started and this show's over.
I know it goes so quickly, and well done for the work that you do. It's fantastic. It's been a privilege to be on. Thank you so much, ladies. Very much appreciated.
Thank you. I hope that you'll come back and see us on this or another one of our shows.
Anytime. You know where I am.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Neil. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good afternoon.
Bye. What a great guest. Thank you so much, JENETTA. I was really so many more questions I wanted to ask him, but it just goes by.
It does. It just flies by. And just so wonderful to have him here. I love his energy and his dedication to helping so many. And we can't wait, Neil and I, to have all of you all around the world joining us on the 15th. It really is such good fun. People were still talking about it weeks after we had the last one. Come and join us.
And by the way, JENETTA, I want to say hello to our new friends over on your LinkedIn. As of today, StreamYard has enabled the guests to also live stream to their destinations in addition to the ones that we're streaming to.
Absolutely. So hello to all my LinkedIn friends and acquaintances, some of whom I have interacted with and many who I haven't. It's an honor and pleasure to have you with us today. And I really suggest, if you'd like to get some more of these shows, because there are some brilliant shows on this channel, go over to usaglobaltv.com. All the shows are there, or even over to YouTube, to USA Global TV and Radio. And, you can choose your different styles of program. Today is The Art of Mental Health Wealth. But we're following just now with Global Adventures, and we're going to talk about somebody's grief in their moving over to Thailand. But Global Adventures is another one where people share their amazing experiences in a particular type of travel. So that's where I would like to suggest you all join us next.
Fantastic. And JENETTA, how can people get in touch with you, and who would you like to contact you?
Well, for today, I would like to talk about World Jenny's Day. It's a day on the 10th of October where we celebrate mental health wellness through performing arts and the arts. It's over 24 hours. We've got a gala evening in London, and I'm dying to tell you the celebrities we've got lining up to be there at the gala evening, but that's for another time. So tune in again. So that's on the 10th of October. But in the meantime, we have various fundraisings, a bike ride across an African game park. If you'd like to join that, go to worldjennysday.com to find out more about it. We've got the 12-hour DJ marathon we've just been talking about. That's also, you can be part of that. And World Jenny's Day really is about changing and uplifting people's spirits, not talking about broken people. We all feel compromised at some time. And World Jenny's Day is about lifting spirits. And it's on World Mental Health Day, which is the day I lost my daughter, Jenny, to suicide. So we use that day to make a difference rather than discuss broken people and how to mend them, because everybody at some time or another feels compromised. And that day makes a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, JENETTA. It's been an absolute pleasure seeing you again. I'm going to see you in a few minutes, so I'll let you get over to the other studio, and I'll just go ahead and close out the show.
Lots of love, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. I just have one quick announcement in case you haven't heard. I'm turning 60. Can you believe it? March 26th. And we're having a live 2-hour party. The first hour is to celebrate the birthday. So if you want to drop by, we'd love to have you. And the second hour is to celebrate our new book launch in the amazing adventures of Lady Ella. The new book is Lady Ella Has Afternoon Tea in London. And it's actually already an Amazon #1 new release. So please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and register to join us. So we'll be right back with Global Adventures. Stay tuned. Bye.